I'm going to read to you today King Arthur, chapters 7 through 9. I'm going to start with chapter 7. Chapter 7, Sir Tristram. One day the king of Lyonesse went into the woods because he wanted to catch animals. He made a long journey, and at the end of the day he could not find the road home. His queen waited in their castle, but he did not come back. "Where is the king?" she thought. "He knows that I am going to have a child." So the queen went out into the woods and looked for the king. She walked a long way and began to feel very tired. In the evening, she slept under a tree. There, her baby boy was born. "I am going to die," she thought. "I am very ill." She took the baby in her arms. "Oh, my little son," cried the queen, "I will give you the name Tristram. It means sad, and I am sad. I know I am not going to live, but you, my dear child, will be a brave knight when you are a man." The king found a way back to his castle, but the queen was not there. His men went out into the woods and looked for her. They found the queen and the child under a tree and took them back to the castle. The queen told the king the baby's name, and then she died. For many days the king did not speak or eat. "He will die too," people said, "and the little boy Tristram will be our king." But after a long time, the king began to enjoy life again. 7 years later, the king of Lyonesse married again, and the new queen had a son, and she loved her son very much, but she did not like Tristram, the son of her husband's first wife. One day, the queen thought of a plan. She made a drink for Tristram and put some poison in it. "He will think it is wine," she thought. "But when he drinks it, he will die." She put the glass on the table, ready for Tristram. "Everything is ready," she thought. "Good." But the queen's son came into the room before Tristram. He was very thirsty, and he drank from the glass. Then he fell on the floor and died. The queen tried to kill Tristram a second time. Again, she put some poison into his drink. She put the glass on the table and again waited for Tristram. This time, the king came into the room. He put his hand out to the glass of wine, but the queen cried, "Do not drink it." The king suddenly remembered his second son. There was poison in his drink. Then he understood the queen's evil plan. "You wanted to kill Tristram, but your son drank the poison. So you tried to kill Tristram again, but I nearly drank it." The king was very angry. "Make a fire. Take the queen and put her in it," he shouted to his men. But when the fire was ready, Tristram came to his father. He fell down at his father's feet. "Father, do not do this. Take your wife back. Love her, and she will love you. She hates me, so send me away. Then you will be happy again." So Tristram went to live with his father's brother, Mark. Mark was king of Cornwall. He loved Tristram, and Tristram loved his uncle. He was happy there. When he arrived there, Tristram was a boy. Some years later, he was a strong, brave man. The king of Ireland also had a son, Sir Marhaus. Nobody could fight him and win. One day, Sir Marhaus came across the sea to King Mark's castle. "I am the best and strongest knight in Ireland. Send a knight to me, and I will fight him. Then you will see." Not one of King Mark's knights wanted to fight Sir Marhaus. Then Tristram went to his uncle and said, "I am not a boy now. I am a man. Make me a knight and send me. I can fight Sir Marhaus and win." King Mark thought for a long time. "I do not want to send you, but the other knights will not fight him," he said. So the king made his brother's son Tristram a knight, and Tristram got ready for the fight. Many people came and watched the two men. They fought with their swords all day. Sir Marhaus was strong, but he was older than Sir Tristram. He was not as quick on his feet. He could not hit Tristram. The sun was hot, and Sir Marhaus started to feel tired. Tristram's sword cut through Sir Marhaus's helmet and killed him. His men took the dead man away to his ship. Sir Marhaus was also wounded Tristram badly in the fight, and the young man was very ill. There was poison in the wound. Nobody could make Sir Tristram's wound better. After some time, an old woman came and looked at it. She said, "Ah, the poison in this wound came from Ireland. Send your knight there, and somebody will make him better." Soon, King Mark sent Sir Tristram in a ship to Ireland. Sir Tristram used another name because he killed the son of the King of Ireland. On the ship, Sir Tristram looked out at the green seawater. Birds flew in the sky. He took his harp and began to play a song. He played the harp very beautifully. When his ship came near Ireland, the king heard the sound of music. He asked Tristram to his castle because he wanted his daughter to play the harp. "Where did you get that wound?" the King of Ireland asked. "Some bad men fought me on my journey," said Tristram. He could not tell the king about his fight with Sir Marhaus. "I will ask my daughter, Iseult, to make your wound better. Then you will teach her to play the harp?" "Yes, sir. Yes, sir," said Tristram. The king told his daughter about his idea. "I will be a good student, father," said Iseult. She carefully cleaned the wound and stayed near Tristram's bed for many days and nights. Then, when he was well again, Tristram taught Iseult the harp. She enjoyed playing it and learned well. They were very happy. Tristram liked Iseult very much, and she liked him too. Iseult knew another knight. His name was Sir Palomides. He loved Iseult and wanted to marry her. He asked her again and again. She did not like him, but he did not listen to her. One day there was a big fight between the great men and knights in the country. A lot of people watched these fights. The knights were on horses with swords in their hands. Sir Palomides wanted to fight. He had a black helmet and black clothes, and he sat on a black horse. Tristram had a white helmet, white clothes, and a white horse. The two knights began to fight. Sir Tristram moved quickly, and Sir Palomides with his sword, and hit Sir Palomides with his sword. The Black Knight fell off his horse onto the ground. Then Tristram stood over him with his sword. "Leave here. Do not speak to Iseult again, or I will kill you," he cried. After the fight, Sir Tristram went back to Cornwall. He told his uncle about Iseult. "So Iseult is beautiful and kind? I can marry Iseult, and then the King of Ireland and I will be friends. It will be good for our two countries." King Mark said, "Ask the King of Ireland for me." So Tristram went back to Ireland. "King Mark wants to marry. Will you give him your lovely daughter? Iseult? He is a good man, and he will love her," Tristram said to the King of Ireland. "Yes, it will be a good thing for this country," said Cornwall, and for Cornwall, answered the King of Ireland, and he sent Iseult to King Mark. Tristram took Iseult on his ship. He played beautiful songs on his harp for her. Tristram loved Iseult, and she loved him. I cannot marry you because you are going to marry King Mark. But he is a good man, and he will love you well, said Tristram. After many days at sea, the ship came to Cornwall. I have to leave you now, dear Iseult, Tristram said sadly. I am going away to Camelot. I want to be a knight of the Round Table. I will fight for King Arthur. But please remember this, I am your friend, and I will always love you. When you want my help, I will come. So Iseult married King Mark, and he gave her many lovely things. But one day Sir Palomides suddenly arrived and carried Iseult away on his horse. Another knight went after him, and Sir Palomides fought him. Iseult ran away. She ran and ran through the wood. Night is coming, thought Iseult. Nobody will find me here in the dark wood. She sat down and cried. Then she saw a lake. I will jump into the water and die. Then that evil Sir Palomides cannot hurt me or take me away. Iseult stood by the lake and looked into the cold water. She heard the sound of a horse and turned round. It was not Sir Palomides, it was another knight. Who are you? Asked Iseult. She was afraid. I am Sir Atherp, he answered the knight. Why are you here in the wood at night, Queen Iseult? Do not be afraid. I will not hurt you. I hope I can help you. I ran away from Sir Palomides. He wants to take me away. Oh, please help me. It is dangerous here for you, Sir Atherp said. Come with me to my castle. Later that night, Sir Palomides arrived at the castle of Sir Atherp. Open the doors, he shouted, but nobody answered. Sir Tristram was on his way to Camelot when a man ran to him. Sir Palomides took Iseult away, he said. Tristram was very angry. He went back to Cornwall quickly and looked for Iseult. He saw a knight on the ground in the wood. Sir Palomides wounded me in a fight, said the man. Tristram gave the brave knight a drink of water. Where did Iseult go? Sir Tristram asked the knight. I do not know, answered the knight. She ran away when she saw the fight. I have to find her, said Sir Tristram, and he jumped back on his horse. He came to a lake and looked at the ground. Iseult was here, he thought. And another person on a horse. I will follow them. After a short time, he came to a castle. Outside the castle was Sir Palomides. Sir Palomides saw Sir Tristram and fought him, but Sir Tristram was stronger. Tristram threw Palomides off his horse, and the evil knight fell onto the ground. Sir Palomides stood up and pulled his sword out of his scabbard. Then Tristram got off his horse and took out his sword. The two men fought there in front of the castle. Iseult was inside the castle. She heard the noise of the fight and looked down from her window. Tristram is here, she cried. He will help me. She watched the fight. Palomides fell again, and Tristram stood over him with his sword. She watched. No, shouted Iseult loudly. Do not kill him. Sir Atherp's men opened the castle doors, and Iseult ran outside. Please do not kill him, kind sir. He fought bravely. Send him to King Arthur, and he will learn to be a good knight. Then he can fight for the king. I will do this for you, answered Tristram. So Sir Palomides went to Camelot and learned to be a very good knight. Sir Tristram took Iseult to King Mark, and he stayed in Cornwall with them. But the king began to be afraid of him. Sir Tristram is young and brave, he thought. He fought Sir Palomides for my queen Iseult. Perhaps now she will love Tristram and will not love me." One day Tristram went with Iseult to the beach. King Mark followed them there and watched them. Tristram played a beautiful song for Iseult on his harp. She listened with a smile on her face. Suddenly, King Mark came with his sword. "Why are you singing love songs to my wife?" he shouted. "I am going to kill you for this." Tristram had no sword and could not stop King Mark. The king wounded Tristram very badly, and he fell at Iseult's feet and died. Day after day, Iseult sat and looked at the sea. She did not eat or drink. She did not speak to anybody again. She cried because Tristram was dead. Then she died too. When King Arthur heard the story of Tristram and Iseult, he was very sorry. Tristram was a brave knight of the Round Table. Arthur was very angry with King Mark, so he sent another knight to Cornwall. That knight killed him. Chapter 8. The Grail. King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table were in Camelot. One day an old man with white hair and in white clothes came to the king. "Mr. King, I am bringing you a young knight. He is the son of a great man, and he will do great things." The king saw a young man. He wore red clothes and a red helmet, and his face was very beautiful. For a long time there was one place at the Round Table without a knight at it. "Years before," Merlin said, "only a good knight, your best knight, will sit there. The place is for your best knight, and he will come to it." This was the only place with no name on it. The old man took the young knight to that place at the Round Table. There was a name there for the first time. It said in gold letters, "Sir Galahad." "Sit here," said the old man. Then he left King Arthur and the knights of the Round Table, and nobody saw him again. "Who is this young man? Why is he sitting there? Why is he not afraid?" asked the king. "Does anybody know him?" "I know him," said Sir Lancelot. "When I was on a journey, a nun came outside with this young man. She brought him to me and said, 'His name is Galahad. He has to be a knight. It is very important.' Then she took him inside again." The other knights looked at Galahad, and they looked at Sir Lancelot. Their two faces were nearly the same. "Sir Lancelot married when he was very young," remembered one of the knights. "This is Sir Lancelot's son." Sir Lancelot smiled at his son, but said nothing. King Arthur made Galahad a knight, and they all sat down at the Round Table. Suddenly they heard a loud noise. Then there was a great white light. They looked up and saw a gold cup above the table. "What is it? Where did it come from?" And suddenly it was not there. Nobody spoke. Then Sir Galahad said, "That is the Grail, and it is in this country. I will go out and look for it. I will come back when I find it." "We will go with you," said Sir Lancelot. Sir Cors and Sir Percival. King Arthur was very sad. He looked around the Round Table at his knights. Then he spoke to them. "We were brothers, but this will be the end of our Round Table. You are leaving, and I will not see you again." The four knights got on their horses and left Camelot. For many years they looked for the Holy Grail, but found nothing. Other knights also left and looked for the Grail. Nobody found it, and some knights never came back to Camelot. The Round Table was different now, and King Arthur was very sad. After many years, Sir Galahad, Sir Percival, and Sir Bors came to a place near the sea. They looked down and saw a ship. It was evening, but white light shone from the ship. "I know that we are going to find the Grail," said Sir Galahad. They went down to the sea and onto the ship. There on a table was the Grail. They were all very excited. "Look!" cried Sir Galahad. "Here is the Grail. Now we can end our journey." The knights were all very tired, and they fell asleep. The ship went out to sea the next morning. When the knights woke up, they were near a great city. "We have to take the Grail into the city," said Sir Galahad. So they took the Grail and left the ship. There was no king in that country because the dead king had no son. The great men sat in the castle and thought about the problem. When King Arthur's knights arrived at the castle with the Grail, everybody was excited. Then an old man came into the castle. He had white clothes and white hair. The knights knew him when they saw him. "These 3 knights are here at the end of a long journey," said the old man, "and they have the Grail. Take the youngest knight, a very brave man, and make him your king." Then the old man left. Nobody saw him come and nobody saw him go. So Sir Galahad was now the new king. "I found the Grail, and I am happy now," Sir Galahad said. He built a beautiful church and put the Grail in it. Then the old man came to him again. "Your work is done. Now you are going to die," he said. Sir Galahad was not afraid. In the morning they found him dead in front of the Grail, and his face was very happy. Sir Bors went back to Camelot. "We found the Grail and do not have to look for it now," he told King Arthur. Many other knights also came back and sat at the round table again. King Arthur was happy, but he was also sad. "I know that the end of the round table is coming. Many brave knights are dead, and no new knights will come and take their places," King Arthur said sadly. Chapter 9. King Arthur Dies. One day, King Arthur and Sir Gawain, one of his best knights, went to France. Sir Lancelot was in France at the time, and King Arthur was angry with him. He wanted to fight him there. When King Arthur was away, the evil Sir Mordred came to Camelot. He wanted to take Queen Guinevere away. "King Arthur is dead," he told the queen. "He died in France in a fight. I am now your king, and you will be my queen." "I will die first," cried the queen. Guinevere ran away to a castle in London, and her knights went with her. Mordred came to London with his men, but the walls of the castle were very strong, and he could not get inside. Then one of Mordred's men came to him and said, "King Arthur is coming back to England with his men and a lot of ships." Mordred went to Dover with his men and waited for King Arthur. There was a great fight, but Sir Mordred's men could not win. They ran away. But one of Sir Mordred's men wounded Sir Gawain, and King Arthur found the brave knight on the ground. "I am dying. Give me a pen and paper. I want to write to Sir Lancelot." He wrote, "To Lancelot, I know that I am dying. You are my brother, and I love you. Please come and help King Arthur in his fight with evil Sir Mordred. No knight is braver than you. Goodbye, my friend, Gawain." Then he died. King Arthur was very sad because he loved Gawain very much. He sat on the ground next to the dead knight and cried all night. Sir Mordred found more men, and they waited for Arthur at a place near a lake. King Arthur knew the place. Excalibur came from the same lake. On the night before the fight, Arthur saw Sir Gawain in his sleep. Gawain spoke to him. "Do not fight Mordred now. In 1 month, Lancelot will come with his men. He will help you, and then the queen can go back to Camelot." The king called his knights and told them about Sir Gawain. "We will not fight today. I will go and speak with Mordred. Come with me and bring your swords, but leave them in your scabbards. Take them out only when Mordred or his knights take theirs out. Then kill them." King Arthur sent a man to Mordred. The man told him about Arthur's plan. There was no fight that day. Then Arthur met Mordred. The two men stood and talked. The king's knights stood near the king, and Mordred's knights stood near Mordred. Suddenly, something jumped on the foot of one of Mordred's knights. He pulled out his sword and killed the animal. The other knights saw his sword and took out their swords. "This is an unhappy day," cried King Arthur, and they began to fight. They fought all day. When evening came, King Arthur saw only 2 of his knights, Sir Lucan and Sir Bedivere. His other knights were dead. Arthur cried when he saw his brave knights on the ground. Mordred stood with his sword and looked at his dead men on the ground. Then Arthur ran to Mordred and killed him. Mordred fell, but he wounded King Arthur with his sword. Sir Lucan and Sir Bedivere took the king to a little church near the lake. But after they arrived, Sir Lucan also died of his wounds. The sky was dark, and it was a cold night. Arthur felt very weak. "I am also going to die now. It is time. Please take my sword, Excalibur. Go to the lake and throw it into the water," he told Sir Bedivere. Sir Bedivere took the sword and walked to the lake. Then he looked at the beautiful sword. "Why do I have to throw this beautiful sword into the lake? That will not help King Arthur," he thought. So he put Excalibur under a big stone and went back to the king. He said, "I did it. I threw your sword into the lake." "What did you see there?" the king asked. He was very cold and his wounds hurt him. "I saw the water, the sky, and the stones. That is all." "Then you did not do the right thing. You did not throw the sword into the lake." King Arthur said, "Go again and throw Excalibur into the water. Then come to me again." Sir Bedivere went again to the lake and took the sword from under the stone. He looked at it again, at the beautiful sword, and thought, "I cannot throw this sword into the water. I want to have it. Then I will always remember King Arthur." So again, he put the sword under the stone, and again, he went back to King Arthur. "I saw the water, the sky, and the stone. Then the sword fell into the lake," he said. "Go again." The king said very sadly, "Go quickly, because I am dying." "Oh, my king, I am very sorry," said Bedivere. "I will do it now." He went back to the lake very quickly and got Excalibur. This time he threw it hard over the water. An arm came up out of the water and caught the sword. Then the arm took it down into the lake. Sir Bedivere went back and told the king about the arm. "Now," said the king, "take me to the lake quickly." So Sir Bedivere carried the king to the lake. There was a long black boat on the water, and some ladies in black dresses were in the boat. The Lady of the Lake and Queen Morgan Le Fay were two of the ladies. He looked at their faces and thought, I know these faces. I know these ladies when they lived. Now they are dead, but I remember them. Please put me on the boat now, said King Arthur. So Bedivere put him on the boat, and the ladies stood round him. I am leaving you now, and I want to tell you the story. And I want you to tell the story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I will come again one day when my country asks for me, called King Arthur to Sir Bedivere from the boat. Those were the king's last words. The boat went out across the water. Sir Bedivere stood and cried. And that is the end of the story of King Arthur and his brave knights of the Round Table. And this ends the reading of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I hope you have enjoyed the reading of this story, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this unit. It will soon end, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the activities. Have a great afternoon.